All right, we'll give it a try.
Cooking with fire now.
Good evening and welcome to the Fraser City Council special meeting of Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bransky? Mayor Lessig?
Yes.
Councilmember O'Dell? Yep. Councilmember Perry?
Here.
Councilmember Shornack?
Present.
Councilmember Stein?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland?
Present.
Thank you very much. I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilmember Baranski. She is out of town and
Second.
unable to make the meeting. All right, motion made by Lessig, seconded by Councilmember Shornack to excuse Councilmember Baranski. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Member is excused. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. I'd entertain a motion to
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
A motion to approve the agenda by Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Odell. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. The agenda is approved. Item number 5, citizen participation on agenda items. Are there any members of the audience that would like to speak on agenda items before we get to them? Seeing none, I will move on to item number 6, new business. Item A, DPW full-time position backfill. City Manager.
This is just a request to backfill a position. In the past, any positions that have become open, we wanted to bring to council for approval to be able to fill those positions. We did have someone that left the position on Monday, and we're just looking to backfill and maintain the full-time staffing level that we have in DPW.
Thank you. Councilmember Odell.
Make a motion to approve the backfilling of the DPW equipment operator position as presented.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Councilmember. Oh, your microphone was off. Could you please repeat the motion? for the benefit of the listening
Yes,
public?
sorry about that. Make a motion to approve the backfilling of the DPW equipment operator position as submitted to council.
Second again.
All right, motion made by Councilmember Odell, seconded by Councilmember Shornack to approve the backfill of the DPW full-time position. Any member of the audience would like to speak on this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. You have your approval. Item number 7, returning business. Item B, fiscal year 24-25 police and fire SAD millage rates resolution 2024-005.
I must apologize. My second hand, Mary, has been off sick the last couple days and lost out on my proofing for these agendas.
You can blame Word for this. This is terrible. It's the worst. ahead.
So, yes, we are back to discuss the millage rate. This is for the PA 33, which funds public safety. This was a millage that was put forth by council. And last year, we were at 2 mills. So far, I'm recommending 2 mills. And at this point in time, looking for consideration of council and where you're at with this. Just a reminder, we do need to get this resolved before the end of the month so that we know what number to put on our tax bills.
Okay.
And we do need a vote of 5.
Okay. You had some new information that you shared when I walked in. Would you like to share with the council?
So.
May affect our discussions.
It may. So it's really more in conjunction with the budget, but it is kind of tied with this a little bit. It's regards to the OPEB and pension. So Angeli, being new, obviously doesn't really have a lot of the information. So she's been kind of working through trying to really refine some of the numbers for pension and OPEB and get a better understanding of that, working both with MERS and office staff. So we do have some updated numbers that will affect the bottom line of the budget. This is for the general fund, and the additional amount per MERS that we have to provide to them in payments for the 24-25 is an additional $433,428. It's split between quite a few of the different line items in Department 301 and 961 and 441, so for public safety, DPW, and the retirees.
This would be the pension portion of, we have two trust funds, MERS for pensions and MERS for our OPEB. Just want to confirm that it's for the,
Believe it is for the OPEB.
Yeah, it is like for the MERS valuation, like they do at the year end.
for the defined
The
benefit
pension or the
pensions.
OPEB?
Yeah,
So the
it is more for pension, like for
Okay.
the, not the, some retiree part, but mainly the active members. And so they do the valuation at the year end, and so it is based on the December 31st, 2022.
Okay.
Their pension, and some could be part of the health, you know how they are doing like defined benefit things too. So the both of that, and we will get the new number, but early of the next year for 2023. But this is how they work. They take like 1 year to do the valuation. So this is something recent information, but their rates are increased.
Okay. So this is mandatory required payment?
Yes.
Yes,
as opposed to-
every month we have to pay that amount.
What was that total number, 433?
433, 428, and that would be all to the general fund. So additional expense.
So this would, just to summarize that, it would be in the general fund, and it would increase our expenditures by $433,428.
Right.
And so that would take us to about under the current budget, about
Yes.
$500,000 of fund balance would be used.
Right. So with the council draft version for the general fund, we were looking at a ending fund balance of $10,390,957. With this change, it would be $9,957,529.
Okay. And the next year net revenue and expenditures would be about negative $500,000. We'd be spending about $500,000 more than we're bringing in next year.
Our expenditure will be high, yeah,
Yeah, we were,
$500,000.
when we took the stabilization budget down, then we were like at negative 45,000 or so. We were at about $500,000 above in draft
Yes,
one.
yes.
And then we were
Right.
about 50,000 under in
Talking
draft
about the net.
two. Now we're going to add another 433 to that. So around $500,000.
Net impact for the 24-25, that's you're saying, right? Yeah.
Does everyone follow that?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Councilmember Shortneck.
So you're saying, I just want to make sure that you're saying that above and beyond what was already put in the budget allocated for that, we're going above that by 433.
Yeah, so when I worked with Anjali, we were originally looking at the budget and working on estimates, and with her learning the job and getting more information, talking to MERS and staff and trying to really get a handle on how all these numbers are computed, she was able to figure out a specific number about what we actually have to pay instead of an estimate.
Okay, and so, but also the 9 million and change that you are saying now would be the general fund. That is also, we did not also allocate or include the funds that I know that are not guaranteed, but that we more than likely will get, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just want to clarify that.
Yep. Yep. So that's that. Is there anything else, any other changes, material changes?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you for updating us on that. Council, any thoughts?
I'll start off. So, obviously, that's, 1 mil is a little over $500,000, correct? That brings into the city. So that's gonna eat up almost a mil. These OPEB numbers are only gonna go up. I do agree from our previous conversations that we do need to spend down some of this fund balance on infrastructure projects and things like that, and OPEB long-term liabilities, because these expenses are only going to be going up and up and up. So I'd like to make a motion to keep PA 33 at 2 mills as submitted in the budget. That's my motion.
I would second that motion. Council discussion? Councilmember Shornack.
Well, I kind of put a pros and cons list together over the weekend, thinking about, with regards to the 2 mills. So the end result for me was, I'm still willing to compromise at 1, even though I'd prefer 0, because of the fund balance, because that is still an extremely healthy fund balance. I did like what Mr. Lessig had said to me with regards, we spoke after the meeting last time, with regards to taking just blanket 1.5 million and putting it towards the OPEB, because it needs to be done, because that liability is going to continue forward and it's going to keep snowballing. So we have to put some kind of dent in it. So I know that I was speaking with Ms. Stein earlier, and I would love it if this council at least could agree on, when we agree to whatever it's going to come to for the PA 33, that we agree that no matter what money that we're going to allocate from PA 33, that money, while we are all sitting here, will go instantly and foremost to our liabilities. That was number 1. Number 2, thinking about the other things, because Mr. Lessig had brought up, of course, the MERS and OPEB, which we are very concerned about because that is an ongoing liability. Ms. Sutherland had brought up the roads and everything like that. With regards to all that, and knowing that we have a very healthy budget, I was actually going to propose that, again, keeping in mind that I'm for 1.5 go into the OPEB, 4 million go towards the industrial park roads, because we've done nothing with those in decades, and it's been kicked and kicked and kicked until we have now hit the cement wall and nothing can be kicked further. 3 million go to the infrastructure repairs and roads for our resident roads, because then everybody gets something. Is it what everybody wants? No, but everybody can't have what they want. So again, back to the word compromise, everybody's not going to be happy. But keep in mind that our residents voted not once, but twice. And believe me, when I say we had to take kicks for voting in the PA 33 against everybody's wishes, at this time, I don't feel comfortable doing the whole 2, because I feel like we need to give something back to the residents as well. And I feel like we can do that with paying down our liability, taking care of some of our roads, and giving our residents even a small break. I mean, to a senior, $50, $60 on their taxes is something. I mean, it might seem little. I just think we have to remember that people were not happy about this, and they knew the money was for the cops, and that's the worst part of it. They knew that, and I know Ms. Sutherland has brought up many times about adding an additional officer, which would be great, but at the same time, we had to lay off 8 officers because the citizens said, we don't care. That's what it comes down to for me, when the residents, we're trying to give back to the residents, I guess is what I'm saying, for, putting up with the tax that we've had for quite several years now, so.
Okay. Anyone else would like to speak on this? Okay, so I'm just covering your, so first of all, we're talking about PA 33, but you're talking about you're willing to consider things, and these are some of your conditions that we would have to do tonight,
Well, no, I'm just saying that we should,
or make commitments to do that, or.
I feel that we should make a commitment to that. I know we all agree that our liability is something that is going to catch up with us in the very short.
It's coming.
It's coming, right. So in efforts to try to negate some of that, I feel like that is something that we need to be responsible with, since we do have a very, very healthy fund balance. And because roads is another thing for everybody, that would be something else we should consider. We shouldn't, I'm not saying we just throw caution into the wind and just throw it out there. I'm saying let's get with AEW, let's figure out, my personal thing is I'm assuming they want to do Malin. I think that's that main big street in the industrial park, because we have to do the infrastructure, we have to do all the things that need to be done with the sewer lines and everything. So that's going to be, I think that road by itself was $4 million. But I think that's the main strip there, but I digress on that. But, other roads that AEW can tell us what the Paisley rating was, like this is where this one is, so we should start here, or do this road, make the upgrades. I think we need to have a plan as the council to really move forward with, yes, spending it down, but still keeping a little bit healthier than 25% fund balance. I really feel like we can do that and meet a lot of the needs, and people will have to wait on the wants. So, that's my thoughts.
Great, thank you. So I just wanted to, the 1.5 million in OPEB, if we make that, we could make that as part of the budget tonight.
Yeah.
And make that happen. The other two things in my thoughts are, I'm committed to doing both of those things. I'm just not committed to a dollar amount tonight. I'd like to see what the engineers come up with the Paisley rating, what DPW feels are
That's
the
fair.
critical needs. But I'm committed to it, and I'll say it loud, and I'll say it every day. We need to do something with all of those things. So I'm on board with all three of those things. I would still like to keep it at 2, especially with the 433,000 we just found out today. So consider that. Mayor Pro Tem.
So I don't have too much to say that's changed from what I said in the last meeting. We reduced PA 33 by 1 mil last year, and for every meeting that we've sat here for the last year, and we've made any improvements or comments about desires to improve things like infrastructure, parks, anything, we talked about the cost going up, going up, going up. So, I mean, considering that costs aren't going down, they're continuing to go up, and we reduced it by 1 mil last year. Yes, I understand that $50 might be a big thing, to anybody, not just seniors, but to anybody. But, people driving through Fraser and running over a pothole and having to spend $800 to get a new wheel well, that's also a big expense because our infrastructure badly needs help. So taking it down right now and not making those improvements before costs only continue to go up does not make any sense to me. So I'm standing at 2 mils. We can talk about allocating it in different ways, but I just don't think that now is the time to reduce.
Councilmember Odell.
Yeah, 433 in 1 year, who knows what next year is going to be. So that fund balance, even if we get it right size, could start going back the wrong direction very, very fast. That's one thing that concerns me. Also, this is going to be a big year of transition for our police department because we're going to 12 operatives. We don't know what it's going to look like as far as staffing needs. So if we cut it down now, that doesn't give us the flexibility to adjust if we have to going forward. So the 1.5 for the OPEB, I'm on board. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Let's commit to getting that fund balance down, and infrastructure is my number one priority as well. So I'm on board. I just don't want to cut it when we've got a lot of changes happening this year. We got 2 new ambulance drivers come in. Again, we don't know what, I'm sorry, not DPW. We don't know what fire and safety is going to look like a year from now. We might have to make some adjustments. But if we cut, then we got to raise it again. I don't want to do that. I would like to have the flexibility to make those changes if we need to, depending on how that's going to look at. So I'm strongly at 2. I'm committed to eventually get rid of it. I do want to get rid of it. I just think it's jumping the gun a little bit too soon until we have some of these liabilities under control.
Councilmember Stein.
So I was at 1.5. Me and Patrice talked. I come in tonight, and now we add another $433,000 to a budget. That scares me by now taking it down to 1 again. So I will compromise. I will 1.5, but I agree with the roads. We need to fix roads. We need to put 1.5 into OPEB. That's a liability that we have to keep on paying down. It just keeps on going up and up, right? So by me seeing that 433, I'll compromise at 1.5, but really 2 is, that's $500,000 what we just found out tonight. Like, is this gonna happen every year that $500,000 just pops up? Oh, now we gotta pay another $500,000. And I'd rather not have in the middle of the year say, okay, now we're $1 million short. I think we have good people in place now. I feel like we're in the right direction, but I feel like we need to give it another good year that they can get placed, know the numbers, like she just said, she's learning, right? The numbers aren't, I don't want to say I don't trust numbers because I hate that, but she's new, she doesn't know the numbers exactly, right? So we're learning this. $500,000 we just learned. If we keep on learning that during the year, that worries me now. So that's, I mean, I agree, roads and OPEB, but I don't know about going down to one. That scares me now with this $500,000 I see.
I think we are heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree.
And,
Right people in the right place.
when you said 1 million in the middle of the year, we actually had that happen, I think, in 2016, where all of a sudden we had a $1 million budget hole. And the only thing that saved it was getting that overpayment from the stabilization fund. So that's a scary thing when you only have 1.6 million to start with. But I wanted to just go over numbers. You said at the end of the year, we will have target. I figured about 11, but you said 10, 9, something.
So with.
Around 10 million.
With the new 433,000, it's 9.957 million, so almost 10 million.
Okay.
But like Patrice said, that's not including that in money we probably will get, but might get, correct?
Yeah.
That we cannot, that we don't
So
want to
then
count
we're right
on.
back up to, we're back up to.
It's a wash.
It's likely to happen.
Yes.
For the May payment's coming. We don't know what it is yet. We should know by the end of the month. But I added up I just want to make sure we're keeping that fund balance and your goals, because your goals were 8.5 million in spend. And so taking that 10, we're down to 1.5. So somewhere it's going to be less than 4 and 3, but
Yeah, but if you put back the 1 from the PA 33, then it's 8. So then it's 2.
say that again?
Because 1 would be funded, the 1 mil, which is at least 500,000, would be funded by the PA 33. Because it's for the cops anyway, and that's what that money's for. So, and the hugest part of that liability, of course, is our officers, because it just was not accounted for correctly, and then the state switched up our accounting, so I still blame the
I
state.
thought we were allocating that 1 mil or 1.5 mil to OPEB though.
Correct. But I'm
Why
saying
would that
the
go back
PA
into the general
33,
fund?
The money is going to come out.
It's gonna offset.
I know, but
It's gonna offset it.
it's not gonna be money to spend though.
Out of the 1.5, 500,000 in theory will be coming from the PA 33.
Okay.
So it's $1 million.
Just sounds like very thin margins for so many variables.
So that 2 mils is already incorporated in this current budget.
Correct.
So if we drop 1 mil, then we're taking that down another 561,000. So between the adding of the 433,000 for MERS, an additional pension, plus taking PA 33 down to 1, we are now, that's $1 million negative hit to the budget. So that takes us even further. So I know these numbers, it's like, I would call it follow the bouncing ball. We're trying to keep up, but that in total is about $1 million hit. Actually, it's darn near $1 million, exactly. So, did you make a motion? You did.
I made a motion, you second.
And I seconded it, that's right. Okay.
Can I say something else?
Yes, and
I just have a
we're here to-
question.
We're here to
I have a
get this
question
done.
for Elaine,
so, but-
or for,
Councilmember Stein.
sorry. So the 433 that you guys found from the pension, is that something that normally happens? Like, all of a sudden, the budget's been processed and now we have 433,000 from pension that we did not know about?
No, this isn't something normal. This is a learning curve item.
And does it
for-
go up like this every year usually?
No. It's just something that we were looking at estimates because we didn't know where information was about actual numbers. And we were able to work with MERS and find actual numbers.
So the number that you used in the original budget is the number from like last year, an estimate from last year, basically? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand.
And they do vary year to year.
Okay.
Depending on if somebody retires.
Right.
We hire someone gets promoted, so those numbers do shift
Okay.
each year.
Just that's a huge shift, 433,000,
It's not, I've seen it shift,
even more.
yeah, and actually, not to go back too far, but when we
when we did reduce PSOs by 8, the next year, we had a drop in the MERS contribution because we had fewer employees.
That makes sense.
So it is a number that only actuarials understand. And they just leave them in a room and let them figure out these numbers. But it's a required, state-required, constitutionally mandated. So, Councilmember Shornick, any thoughts? Where are you at on your final? Is that one?
Right now, I'm still at 1.
Okay. So it looks like if we, and Councilmember Perry, you're still at 0?
I'm still a 0. I'm listening to what you guys have to say, and I understand all the issues we're going through, but at the same time, we have too much money. So I can't ask people to pay PA 33 taxes when, A, we have too much money to begin with, and B, this isn't going towards the police department, the police side of it. We're not hiring any cops. We just have too much money. So I can't ask, I can't move from 0 right now. Unfortunately, I apologize.
You don't have to apologize. That's your position. And we're all allowed to have one. Sherry, Councilmember Stein.
Yeah, we did just add EMTs and a new, I mean, just to say,
I
I'm not
realize
saying that we
that.
didn't add
Yep.
anything, just to put it out there, we did add a ambulance and, you know, so I'm saying we are adding stuff, so I don't want the residents thinking we're not upgrading and.
No, I
Okay.
agree.
Okay,
And if, I guess I'll go a little further. Knowing that we can turn this on for the next 5 years, that's also helping, well, not helping, but what I'm basing my decision off of. We can turn this on next year at 3 if we need. Give the people a break. You guys are saying a lot of projects we want to do, and I get it. I've been through the industrial park. It's terrible. But is $1 million going to do anything for those roads? Last time, well, I wasn't up here when that happened, but it was an $18 million job.
A mile.
and are we really,
Lot.
I don't know if that'll go a mile in the industrial park.
That's what AEW has.
Yeah, but we're not really talking about that yet. I mean, I thought we were putting together a street commission. So that's, a separate issue. I don't see that happening right now. So as I see it now, with nearly $10 million in the bank, 9 million if you remove the 2 mills, we're still well above what our cushion should be. So I just can't do it.
Okay. Thank you. City Manager?
All right, I've been trying to do a little bit of math here while you guys are talking. So, first of all, if we did not change anything in the budget and just did the couple things that have been mentioned, so putting 1.5 mil to OPEB and 4 mil to roads, that's 5.5 million minus the 9.9 in this city council draft budget, which includes the 2 mills. That drops you down to 4.5 million, which is 25%. So with the 2 mills, we're at 25% with those two like big expenditures that we were kind of talking about.
Which,
I don't know, obviously that's.
can you go through that again slow? Thank you. That was good
So-
stuff, but I want to follow along, so.
So with the council draft budget, including that amendment of the 433,000, that puts us at a fund balance at the end of the year of 9.957 million. That's
Okay.
with the 2 mil in there. If you dedicated 1.5 million to the OPEB and then 4 million to roads, that reduces it by 5.5 million and will take you to 4.457 million, which is 25% of the expenditures for the year.
Which is exactly where Yo and Yo
Which-
has
But-
recommended that we,
But that doesn't do any local streets.
well, it puts 4.5 mils into.
It's $4 million for streets, whether you
For both.
dedicate it all for industrial.
Okay, she had split that. I just want to make sure, because she
Well,
had said.
we
4
have
million.
some money in the budget already for road funding, so like I said, I'm just kind of doing some quick math while you guys are talking, and I'm trying to kind of catch what you guys are asking for. Now, if we reduce the PA 33 by half. That takes 563,000 out of the budget, and that'll leave us with projected fund balance at the end of the year of 9,394,282. That's with 1 mil.
Okay.
If you only take half a mil out, that would leave you with fund balance of $9,675,906. I don't know if those numbers help at all, but just trying to help with the numbers a little bit.
Councilmember Odell.
So with you two that are not at 2 mils, we spend down our fund balance. If we don't have PA 33, we're going to be running at a deficit years after that, correct? If we're running at a deficit now, with the current budget, I mean, I know we're spending a little bit more in OPEB that we wouldn't be, but it still will be going down. If we get it down to 25%, without the PA 33, we're going to be going down very fast. One, because we're going to have higher liabilities with pension and OPEB. We just signed new contracts with all our unions, so those costs are going up as well. So if we don't spend it, where are we going to come up with it 2-3 years down the road? Do you want to propose to re-raise it at 2 or 3 years
Well,
down the road?
if I can speak, the city manager just pulled a $4 million number out of the air. Let's put that towards roads. I'm not suggesting we do that right away. We don't have to burn through the cash. We don't even have a plan yet for the roads. So let's, like we can visit that later in the year or whatever, whenever this happens. But what is the minimum we have to put into the retirement funds, the OPEB and the MERS? You said, you guys are suggesting 1.5 million. What is the,
So that's a additional amount that we would put in that people have
on
been
top
talking
of the,
about. Right. So that 433,000.
yes,
In addition to everything that else is already in there is what we'll be required to put in.
okay.
Obviously, things are always subject to change, people coming and going,
Yep.
deaths, so it's always going to change. But this is certainly a better, more accurate number that we're dealing with.
So the 1.5 you guys are suggesting is on top of the minimum, so you're adding that much extra?
Yes, and let me explain where I came up with that number. Councilmember Shornack had said, I'd be interested if it was all, if equivalent of 2 mils went into that. We also, back in 2018, intended to put $1 million in. That never happened.
Yep.
Then, and so that's $1 million. And we've always talked a good game about putting that money and actually starting to be responsible and pay down some of those unfunded liabilities. So that's where I came up with that $1 million. And then the 200,000, which actually went into a trust fund. It didn't get spent. It got spent on legacy costs, but not the costs that the council intended to.
Okay.
And that person is no longer here, so that problem won't happen again. And then, so over the 5 years, that's about $300,000 a year in extra money that we put in. The average would be the equivalent of that. So that's where I came up with it.
Okay.
And it doesn't get us to everything we should be putting in, but it is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Councilmember Stein.
No.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You're moved over. Mayor Pro Tem.
So I just wanted to make a comment about, the $4 million. I think it was last year that AEW told us that between the industrial park and then the roads in the city that need replacement or repair, it would cost approximately $90 million. So $4 million is not even scratching the
No.
surface. So talking about $4 million without having a plan, it's not that we don't have a plan. If we had the Rolls Royce of plans, it's $90 million. We've got a plan, and we've got PACER ratings to determine which roads will be prepared, or will be fixed, repaired, whatever first. So we've got a plan. It's more like a sub-plan of, okay, we've got this tiny little bit to finally start filling this bucket. Where are we gonna put that? So we've got a plan. It's $90 million.
Okay.
All right, so we're at 1 mil, or 0, 1, 2, 2, and
I'm I will compromise 1.5, but Patrice, where are you at 1.5 if we went up to 1.5? But talking about OPEB again, I'm all for that, and I know you are too.
I just know a lot of people would really, even though it would only be probably for a short time realistically, could use a little break right now. And like I said, for them to, and we took the wrath.
Well, it would be a break.
Twice,
I mean, be
you
a
know.
half a mil break, but, yeah.
I think it'd be more of a wrath if we're not being long-term physically responsible.
And I think it would be more of a wrath if we reduce it and then we have to increase it and go, oh no, we can't even just put it back up to 2, we've got to go back up to 3.
And that's
I know
what-
for me,
exactly.
as a taxpayer who's paying taxpayers on my taxes on my house, which this also impacts, I would be personally much more wrathful against, I guess, the person I'm looking at in the mirror if we reduce it and then have to increase it in a couple of years.
But I mean, at the 2, we are spending more to pay down those long-term liabilities, which is a debt that we owe. So it's not like we're just throwing it in the bank and making 2% interest off of it. We're paying down some debt with it, above and beyond what we have to. So, and at 2 bills, you know, once that fund balance is spent down on whatever infrastructure project, 2 mills is just treading water on PA 33. It's not gonna dramatically go up. The only reason our fund balance really went up was the overpayment of the stabilization fund.
No,
Wasn't-
that's not the only reason.
Well, I mean, in the short term, when it was at 9, yes, it did buff it up, but it steadily went down, and a lot of it
That
was
was
from
a lot because of COVID, the COVID money and the time we
True,
did not
that-
spend COVID money, and we didn't spend the money in general in the fund at that time because we didn't have anything going really. We were running bare minimum, bare everything for several years, so. And that was a lot of that money.
And so we're paying down debt, and we're keeping options open where, you know, costs are going up through the roof on everything. I don't think they're going down anytime soon.
Well, that's exactly that. And that's my point, because with everything being so expensive and everything, the cost being so much more, their houses, their taxes are gonna go up anyway, which way, because their houses are going to appraise for more, which is it's a double-edged sword there.
Lower for mill, it goes up 2 or 3%, it's gonna be a wash. So,
Well, that's what I'm saying, it would be a wash,
so.
at least this year.
It's not, you know, if it's a wash for the taxpayer, it's not gonna really help the long-term financial stability of the city. I just, as much as I would like to reduce it, I think we should spend down and spend down some of this long-term obligation, put so much for roads that we can agree upon, and keep our fund balance healthy, because those costs are gonna continue to go up. We could hit another 433,000 next year. We just don't know what the stock market's gonna do. Political landscape is very, who knows with our world today. So do we wanna cut it to bare bones and keep our fingers crossed, or have a plan where we're at least keeping up with inflation costs and things of that nature, because those costs are gonna keep going up. I don't see them going down.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
Councilmember Stein.
So like Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland said, and Councilmember Perry, I'd rather be the one to keep it at 1.5, 2, than to say, okay, I'm gonna cut it down to 1, but guess what? Next year, we're all sitting here and we're gonna say, you know what, residents, we're so sorry. We have to up it to 3 or even higher. I'd rather be the one to say, keep it the same, than come back next year and say, hey, I'm so sorry, we should have kept it at 2 or 1.5, whatever. I'm in both, right? Now we have to up it to 3, 3.5.
Well,
That's not where I wanna be.
Well, and we reduced it last year. And I remember sitting up here and saying, yeah, let's compromise, and we did, we compromised. It was at 3, Pat wanted to stay, sorry, Councilman Odell, wanted to stay at 3, we compromised, we came down to 2. And we've sat here for a year saying, costs are going up. We can't do this. We wish we could do that. The residents ask for this, and we can't. Well, now we have the opportunity to learn from that. Who knows whether it was a mistake or not, but learn from that experience and see how this year goes with so many variables. And then next year, maybe we can bring it down to 0. Who knows? Let's see what we can get done. But if we're reducing it, not knowing what is out there, we're flying blind.
I think in this economy, everybody's flying blind anyway.
Well,
Even if we tried to
then you're
prepare for
putting
the
money in your
best.
savings instead of just, tossing it, or you're fixing things that need to be fixed. I just had my entire shed redone because, you know what? I don't know what that's gonna look like in a year, and critters are getting into it. I wasn't like, well, I'm gonna wait.
I think you said we're flying blind, but we're the pilots. So
Yeah, well,
we have to
only
have a long-
you're only as good as the
We have to
technology
look
you
over
have.
that horizon and see where we're going. To the compromise thing, and I voted my last year on council before I started again, I voted no on the budget. I voted no on PA 33 because I did not want to lower it, because I felt long-term fiscal conservative position was that we were going to be putting money into these things. So I voted no on it on principle. It wasn't that I voted on, this will be my 7th time voting on this. The first year we did it, I compromised, and we got it down to a bare minimum. And the second year we did it, we bet the farm, and then it went down again at the ballot box. And then the following spring, we did 9. And I still shudder at that moment. And had we just stayed the course and stayed a consistent amount of money, we would have been able to plug that into the budget every year and had a solid number. Consistency is important for us, for homeowners, and escrow accounts. People with mortgages, every year you're changing that escrow amount, and they're making, you get a new escrow bill, okay? This year it went up to 3, so next year we're gonna make sure we're gonna take 3 out, or that amount out next year, and then we're gonna adjust it. So consistency, I think, is important. I've already compromised it 2. I said 2 is what we can do with it right now because of our significant fund balance. I won't call it healthy because we didn't get there in a healthy way. We got there somewhat with the stabilization money, but we also made some budget mistakes that ended up putting us in that position, which is a good position to be. It's better than being 8 million in the hole. But, so I'd really like to do 2. I am more than happy to make the motion or second the motion for 1.5 million directly into our OPEB trust fund. As far as industrial park and roads, that's a discussion that I'm more than willing to have and to make some significant inroads into that, no pun intended, into that. And I commit to monitoring these numbers every day of my life for the next 4 years. Motion and second. I guess we'll, any members of the audience would like to speak? I guess not. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Lessig,
Yes.
Councilmember Odell,
Yes.
Councilmember Perry,
No.
Councilmember Shornack,
No.
Councilmember Stein,
No.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
Yes.
So 4 yes, correct?
3 yes.
Yes.
Second, we need to compromise. We need 1.5. Because we're going to be sitting in the same position. Doesn't matter.
We're getting there, just at a slower pace.
Yeah, well, as I said, I mean, I believe me, I have like literally, I have a pros and cons list for all that at home. I was going through every single thing and looking at where we could make changes and stuff to the current budget. But if I went up to 1.5, I'm telling you, I will not go to 2.
Maybe?
At all, because I've compromised already what I wanted, which was a 0 in the first place. And I know we need 5 to pass the budget, but I'm telling you right now, like, I won't. I mean, I can dig my heels in just as much as anybody else because we all have our passion and what we believe, and that's our perspective, and I respect everything that everybody said, and I understand exactly what everybody said. But I have my perspective as well. So,
If we did 1.5, I'm going to lower my offer on the OPEB to 1.25 million. If you're taking that off the table, I can't, in good conscience, put that money, that means I'm shifting $500,000.
I agree with that.
I can live with that too. I just still think that first and foremost, we should be worried about the pending liability. So,
I agree, and but that's what I would do. That would be my compromise. If you're going to take it down,
no, I'm taking it up.
well, taking down,
Up from my position.
up from yours, down from mine.
us.
Staying at mine.
In the middle.
That I'm going to have to just say that I can't put all of that into OPEB,
I agree with that.
which, again, that's a compromise. Want to make that motion?
So you're saying 1.5, take it down to 1.5 and leave 1.2, what'd you say for?
Well, this can't be, that can't be in this motion.
Allocate.
That
Sorry.
can't be in this motion, but I
Yes.
would need to have a commitment that that's would be what we would agree to after that. A gentleman's a gentle person's agreement.
So I make the motion for the 2024, 2025 police and fire millage down to 1.5, right?
Second?
So that's.
Because you can't put that in the motion, it has to be.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'll make the next motion.
But you have your first and second, so you have to. Yeah, you have your first and your second, so you have to.
Well, it's conversation, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Mayor Lessig,
Yes.
Councilmember Odell,
Yes.
Councilmember Perry,
No.
Councilmember Shornack,
For the sake of compromise and the sake of moving this budget forward, I will agree to 1.5.
Councilmember Stein,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
Only to compromise, yes.
And does it pass?
That's 5.
Looking at all the nodding heads. Okay, good. It passed. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Second follow-up question. We're doing 1 in July and 0.5 in December? Because that's what, it was 1 and 1, so I'm just.
So
It doesn't have to be
0.75,
half and half. You
0.75.
can do up to 2 in July, so that was the question. What-
I'd rather see it split to 7.75, 0.75.
But then again, okay. I mean,
Only because our winter taxes are much less and our summer taxes, because they have the school taxes on there. So I really think that, me as a taxpayer, I would prefer it be on my winter bill, honestly, if we could just do the whole 1.5 on the winter bill, but I know everybody's not going to agree to that, so.
So what's it going to be? Do we leave that to your discretion, or do we have to vote on that?
Does the city benefit by paying off something early in July compared to later in the year?
No. Same dollar, it's just how you get to it.
I think we're going to need it to be the will of the council, because as presented to you tonight, it was split evenly, and we don't have any direction otherwise, so.
All right, I'll make a motion to do 0.75 in July and 0.75 on the December tax.
Second?
Any comment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, there you go. How's that? That was easy. All right, item 7C, fiscal year 2024-2025 budget adoption resolution 2024-006. Councilmember Shornack.
Well, I wanted to make a motion, though, to allocate 1.25 million to the OPEB MERS payment
Second. Just like I promised.
out of the general fund.
Yep. Okay. Should we make a series of motions if we adjust this budget? Would that help you? Okay.
I don't know that we necessarily need motions.
I think this one's important that we do this one. Okay.
So this is going to be out of the 24, 25.
Yes.
Correct. Yes, out of fund balance for 24, 25.
This current budget, we are getting ready to approve.
Okay. There's no one in the audience to speak on this, so I'll just take a vote. All in favor?
So your
say
chopped
aye.
liver, by the way.
Mr. Mayor, I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Is the motion to allocate an additional 1.25 on top of what was presented to you tonight?
Correct, yes.
Or is the total number 1.25?
Nope, an
I think
additional.
we need to be clear on that. in the
Okay.
motion.
All right, let's,
I motion to put in an additional 1.25 million into our MERS and OPEB liability.
MERS OPEB Trust Fund.
Okay, do you want me to call it
I
a
would
trust fund?
second. Well, I want to make sure it goes into the right bucket.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that we set it.
Yes.
So in plain English for these folks, whatever number's in the budget presented to you, we're going to add 1.25 million to
Correct.
that number.
Is there an
That's-
account
that
number we
was-
should use?
that was my
I'm Happy
motion.
to put that in there.
Oh, that's what I'm wondering, yeah. What is the number?
It's split between many line items.
Oh, it's
Yeah, it's not,
Broken
it's
out.
not, yeah, it's not one just easy number. There's like 60 million sub-accounts on everything.
No. There's a number.
one number?
There's a number.
Hold on.
It's
me find it.
990, what is it? What is that?
No, that's,
It is,
we've got it split between 101, 961, 725, 300, 961, 725, 400.
no. Let's do this right.
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Shortnack, would you mind if you rescinded your motion and I'll make a motion?
Okay, fine, I will rescind my motion.
Okay. All right, I'd like to make a motion to appropriate 1.25 million to a general ledger account number 101-961-724.300. That's an
Please.
additional appropriation. And that is the retiree health care OPEB general account number, general ledger account number.
So it will go to the same account where the 207,000 we are making the payment, that in the trust, right?
We are currently,
200, yeah, other two, but we are making additional 207,000.
yes, well, your 207 is already in that line item.
Yeah, and then we will add this one.
We are appropriating an additional 1.25 million to, again, 101-961-725,
Okay.
724-300.
Okay, thank you.
Is that clear now?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. 1.2
Second.
million.
In addition, which would result in that line item being $2.725 million for next year.
In 24, 25.
Okay, you seconded that motion? Mm-hmm. Okay. Waiting for the scribes to make sure they have what they need. You good?
That I am, it is about 725 on the DOT. I do believe that I have written down everything correctly, but especially the emotions of this, I will look.
Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about what I jumbled.
Check that number, so I wrote it down correctly.
Thank you very much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. There's your number. So thank you very much. I think this is a good step forward for the city. All right, next up on the budget, we have some other things to take care of. City manager, I think you have a couple of items that we had on the capital expenditure, Mr. Barrett. So you want to come up here and be in center square? Yeah, but I want to. All right, that's good news. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Barrett. How are you today?
Very good. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I think there's some questions regarding some of the capital expenditures that we are proposing. and our priorities on what we want to do, and I'm here tonight to answer any questions on priorities of what we have going on and what we ask for.
Okay, just off the top of my head, I'll start. There was a leaf pickup or leaf equipment out of the rubbish fund, and then there was a wood chipper and a, stump grinder and a backhoe. If you, of course, you would like all of those things to be brought to you in a red bow, just like the Lexus commercial at Christmas. But what, if you didn't get all of those, do you have a priority or a preference to them?
So, city manager and myself have met regarding the leaf pickup, and I think we need to take a closer dive into our costs, into what we need to invest in it, what do we get in it if we invest into it, what's the cost if we cancel the program, if we don't put all the trailer mounted back unit into it, and it's gonna take some effort. So with respect to a budget being a budget, I would recommend that we could table table's probably the correct word, the leaf pickup items.
Withdraw it from the.
Withdraw, okay. Withdraw them from the budget for now, with anticipation of bringing a very forward and thorough presentation so the city council knows what we're asking for and what we're up against, with an anticipation of, if we continue the program, we're gonna have to invest in some equipment, but with some information that I can take time and put in front of you, you can make an educated decision on what you wanna do with the capital improvements for the LEAF program.
Okay. So that would remove 300,000 from the
Correct.
rubbish
Correct.
fund. Okay. The wood chipper and the stump grinder were not in the second draft, but I'm inclined to hear you out and.
So, obviously, these are all items that we think we need because we present them to council, but a wood chipper is a critical piece of equipment. It's what you go to when you have a storm and you're chopping down trees and you're trying to recover. There's not a wood chipper available to rent or borrow, and our wood chipper is currently in the shop. We just came out with another $2,000 bill, and we spent over $21,000 in repairs of our wood chipper. It's unreliable, in my opinion. It's a 2003 Moorbark chipper. What's in front of you is just a quote that Superintendent Ragsdale pulled together. We can bring other quotes to you, but I highly recommend that you earmark $150,000 towards a new chipper, and we can shop, for lack of a better term, bring things in front of you and let you know what chipper options we have. But this is critical for our residents.
Council, any thoughts on adding that? That was not in the draft 2 budget.
I would,
And that comes from major and local streets. So
Correct.
that does not affect general fund.
I know.
Okay.
Would you say the stump grinder would go along with that? Because if we have wind damage or whatnot, we got to get rid of the stumps as well?
That would be the second item. A stump grinder is a piece of equipment that most public works operations have. We put it in a request for a stump grinder. The one we got a price for was $40,000. Currently, through the 2018, so the last 4 years, we spent $43,900 subbing that activity out, in addition to an emergency situation, well, not emergency, but situations where we had some trees in front of City Hall and we had events going on and we had to get it done. I would go to Roseville and borrow this equipment. So in the past, we've borrowed Roseville's stump grinder. This isn't a critical emergency piece of equipment, but it would definitely be an investment in the city and pay for itself.
I'm fine with both.
I am as well.
Consensus?
I'm good with both.
Add those into the budget, please. So remove the,
Stump grinder and the wood chipper.
Grinder,
correct.
back-
Yes,
Back up.
in there, in the previously acknowledged categories, major and local streets. Any other things that were on there that, backhoe?
The backhoe.
Yes.
The backhoe is pull that up and make sure I have my facts right. Oh, I don't have it. But the backhoe is around 20 years old. This is our third backhoe that we have in the budget. There are disasters that, I mean, when something happens, not a disaster, but there's moments where we have multiple water main breaks and we need a third backhoe. Superintendent Ragsdale put together a priority list for city manager and myself. He felt that this is our second highest priority behind the chipper. But before you is, not before you, but we have one estimate for $175,000. Our current JC backhoe has a trade-in value of $20,000. This is a need. This is not a want that we're putting in front of you. If you want to push this down the road, it would definitely be brought before you again in next year's budget.
In a year or in 6 months?
You never know until the repair bill comes in.
Honestly,
Oh.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's fine. I was just going to say, because I saw our other one out fixing something. Yeah, I'm just saying, for the safety actually of our DPW workers too, I really think that this is something that we should be investing in because we do have more than one water main break at a time still. So honestly, because I'm assuming this, part of this was going to come out of the water fund, wasn't it?
all coming out.
Wasn't it coming out? Okay, yeah.
100%.
So I would 100% be behind this. I'm sorry, I would.
You don't have to, no apologies.
I know, I'm just saying, okay, I'm not sorry.
I would
I'm
agree.
just saying I am behind this.
I would agree.
Thoughts, council?
Go for it. Thank you.
You have consensus on that too? You're just getting,
Should I leave while I'm ahead?
run. Yes, run.
But
Anything else that you had on your list? Because I did not bring my nicely typed out sheet of paper for this. No, I typed something out this morning with yes and no's. And
what hasn't been presented to you in the past that we did this year is we performed a capital improvement vehicle replacement program. And we're looking at our least worthy trucks that we have and things that are costing too much to maintain and presented to you a capital improvement vehicle purchase program. Within that was 2 Ford pickup trucks to add to the fleet this year. It's not critical. We did lose a truck when we created a maintenance position last year, so that's another truck out of the fleet. And we are actually down a pickup truck right now. We asked for 2. I would say we would still be requesting 2, but a minimum, we'd like to replace 1 that was lost within the DPW fleet for the maintenance position.
Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
So I had an idea after our last meeting, the truck that the school resource officer is currently using, I think it had like 70,000 miles on it or something like that. I drive by it every morning, but 130, but it still, I mean, the exterior has some rust, but it's still functioning. Like, would that be something we could maybe do like a
Unfortunately,
hand-me-down kind of situation going?
that is a great thought, but I don't know the capability of that truck is we bought, I think, 4 Rams in 2016 that are 2-wheel drive, which is probably short-sighted because you want to be able to utilize these trucks to plow snow and equipment with the plow on there. I don't know if that truck is 4-wheel drive or not.
Is there any way we could just kind of look into maybe moving some stuff around or what we could use that for? I mean, rather than try to.
Absolutely.
I mean, just to maybe even get one or help use that to kick the can down the road a little bit. Maybe.
I think Fraser is unique where public safety puts their vehicle request together and it's not run through the DPW motor pool. So I don't know if they are trading that in or what the value is or what that situation is.
Okay. Something we could,
Could we say you can come back and ask for this after we get this budget done?
We can put it in the same basket as our LEAF program. We can
Yeah, I'd like to
further
do that.
analyze.
I think we're trying to absorb a lot of things here, and I'd rather make
Yes.
good decisions about $60,000, then
Yes.
the backhoe, we've discussed, you gave some good justification for that. The leaf, we've made some adjustments here. I'd like to just kind of put that off. How do you feel about that? We live to talk another day about that. All right. Anything else?
I think that completes most of the capital improvement requests that we had. Congratulations on coming to a consensus on Public Act 33. It's tough. It's democracy at work. Thank you.
You mentioned 2016, the Ram trucks that we bought and was short-sighted. I can tell you back then I was new.
Yeah.
And we were also flat,
Maybe
blank,
desperate.
broke, and we made decisions that, in hindsight, is 2020.
When I say short-sighted, I should retract that.
No, I
Everybody's
did
up
not take
against-
any offense to it.
Yeah, everybody's up against something at the moment.
At that moment in time, that was what we were dealing with. And had I had more experience, I pretty would have said, why would we want two-wheel drive trucks that are going to be pushing snow, potentially pushing snow?
Thank you.
Live and learn. So where do we stand, City Manager? What do we need to do now?
I have been working on the numbers while you guys have been talking.
Thank you.
So forgive me if I missed something that you said or portray it
pretty good.
inaccurately. So with the changes that we just discussed, so reducing the PA 33 to 1.5 mils, adding 1.25 million additional to the OPEB, that brings the projected fund balance in general fund down to $8,425,906. With the additional changes in the rest of the funds, so removing the 300,000 from rubbish, we're adding an additional 375,000 for the chipper, grinder, and backhoe. That's an addition of $75 to the remainder of the bottom line. So the impact to the bottom line is 1.606 million additional expenses,
And that's to all funds?
all funds.
All funds. Okay. And those were previously your first budget, your first draft.
This is amending the council draft budget.
And all of the funds that are not general fund, those expenditures were all covered. We had money to do it. So it's not a matter of coming up with any additional revenue or anything for those funds.
Math may not be 100% right, but that's my understanding, is reducing the PA 33.5 mils as voted, adding the additional 1.25 million to the OPEB, removing the rubbish equipment valued at 300,000, adding back in 150,000 for the wood chipper, 50,000 for the stump grinder, and 175,000 for the backhoe.
Okay. I would ask one favor, that when you come up with the final numbers, that we do that hopefully by June, by the June meeting, that we have our final budget set in stone rather than wait till
I'll
August,
have the numbers for
September,
you
October.
tomorrow.
Well, no, I
Or we
want,
can-
take your time. I want them
Actually,
right,
it's-
but I would like them within the next month. So
If we could take an intermission, I can actually very easily
let's do that.
share those numbers in BSNA and get a printout for everyone, so we have the actual numbers.
Let's take how many minutes do you need?
Give me 10.
10-minute break. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Thank you.
I compromise more.
All right.
No one's happy. I'm not happy.
We will.
I'm sorry. But it is what it is. I said, but it is what it is.
So there's like a dinner beforehand and breakfast. There's a breakfast after the wedding. Yeah, she thought I was right. No, we're talking about a wedding, because my cousin's wedding was like, there was like a before thing, there was a during thing, there was a breakfast and then after the wedding, yeah. Where's the wedding at? Like, is it at like a garden or something? Yeah. Right, just felt bad because you looked at me and I was like, because I could be a
Oh, and the truck trial at all?
I don't even understand what they're.
You were so funny, nobody else would say that. Oh, no, right? But I didn't.
Because they didn't properly account it, it was to hide it from the election, but it's been done forever.
Yeah, they're just trying to find
Because
something.
they're trying to, it's like,
This is bad too, because you're opening up a can of worms.
Oh, I what I did, yeah, it happens. I'm at home, I was like, so I have to do that all the time. Like, especially my monthly reports, I go back through them like 4 times because I happen all the time. Damn it. I'm telling you, I did not see it. I just want you to know.
It's not very.
Okay, well, good, because I was like, oh.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I still don't see what we have in here or do it this way. So you would just, trying to make.
yeah.
Dana will be missed.
We always joke.
Dana's gonna be a staff.
I don't know. I heard Dana something.
Guess who?
They find their way to new opportunities.
I know. That's what I said. She's sick.
If I wasn't wearing a dress, I would do a curl.
All right, we're back. Sorry about the delay, but we got some fresh numbers, hot off the press. City manager is, when you're ready. So what would you like to tell us about these?
I'm just getting a first glimpse at these numbers along with everyone
Okay.
else. Angela and I sat down and we went through it and made all the changes as discussed. We also made those changes to the additional OPEB numbers that we discussed earlier about the 433,000. So we believe we have everything integrated into this. Certainly, if you look at the first page, we're looking at the 24-25 adopted budget is the column that I've prepared based on the changes that we've discussed this evening. So I've got the 844,870 for the 1.5 mils for the public safety. On page 6, under public safety, we made the change for the MERS Division 20 and 21. So that's the 301, 725, 500, and 600.
Okay. So that would be the last column here. Yep,
Correct, yep.
I see.
Under the next one, Department 441, we made the change. MERS Division 23, that's 441, 725, 700.
Okay.
On page 9, Department 961 retiree, we made the change for 961, 724, 300, the retiree healthcare OPEB from 1.5 million to 2.75 million. And then the totals you'll see for the net of revenue over expenditures is 2,011,000, so that's the amount that we'd be utilizing from fund balance. So looking at our amended budget 23 to 24, that's 10.4 million. You'd subtract the 2 million from that for our anticipated fund balance at the, or general fund balance at the end of the next fiscal year, which would be about 8.4 million. Going on to major streets, we added back in the chipper and the stump grinder between 203 and 204. I did not get the individual noted amount in here, but it is added back in. The previous council draft was 1.631 million, and it's been increased to 1.731 million. And you have the same mirrored amount in the local streets under capital outlay, that it gets increased to 100,000. That was reduced down to 0 in the council draft. And then moving forward to page 17, the rubbish collection fund. We removed the 300,000 out of 528,972,000. And then moving into capital outlay, I noticed, or for water and sewer fund on page 23, I noticed that the 175 for the backhoe had not been taken out for the council draft budget, so I did not need to add that back in, so that was a fortunate turn of events. And I believe that is it, which brings us to the total fund, the total budget, looking at the net revenue over expenditures, goes from 4.5 million to 6.3 million.
Where's that, what page is that?
The very last page, page 26. So our amended budget, the ending fund balance with the current year's budget is 40.6 million. So we'd be looking at a reduction of 6.3 million in the complete fund balance from that amount.
I had one question, and this is for Rob. And, let's see, where was it? It was under DPW. Oh, no, it was under major streets. I noticed that we're not doing any transfer out to local streets. Is that because we have these big projects going?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that, because we can put 25% of major streets into local, or 20. Okay, I just want to make sure that that was,
Yeah, we've got the big Garfield project.
I understand, and that's, I just wanted to double check because it makes sense, but so we can take money from major streets, put it into local streets. This year, we're not. So, okay. All right. Questions, council members? Any comments? Mr. Denault, how would you like a budget motion for this?
We'd be looking for a motion to approve the FY 24-25 budget resolution number 24-006 as the budget has been amended and presented this evening.
All right, I'll make that motion. I would like to make a motion to adopt the 2024-2025 budget adoption resolution 2024-006 as amended and presented to council.
Second.
All right, motion by Lessig, second by Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland. Conversation. Any member of the audience would like to speak on this? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mayor Lessig.
Yes.
Councilmember Odell.
Yes.
Councilmember Perry.
Yes.
Councilmember Shornack.
Yes.
Councilmember Stein.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
Yes.
The ayes have it. It's unanimous. We have a budget. Thank you very much. I think we did okay with this one.
I would like to say thank you very much, and also thank you a lot to Anjali and all the hard work that she's putting in, and moving forward next year, the process should be much easier and smoother.
I believe it will be, and we continue to make progress, so. Looking forward to that audit being done on time this year, and let us know if there's anything we need to assist you, to support you, to make sure that happens. I think that's part of this process, too. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thank you, Director Kretschmar, for being here.
Rob.
Citizen participation. All right, motion to adjourn. I'll make it. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
30 seconds.
Motion by Lessig, second by Shornack to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:19 p.m., 8:18 p.m. Thank you.